Good morning, everyone. This is Jeffe Kennedy, author of fantasy romance and romantic fantasy. I'm here with my first cup of coffee. Oh, happy coffee dance this morning. Today is Monday, September 13th. Another week. The final week of Dragon's Daughter and the Winter Mage. Like it or not. It's gotta happen. I've got about 12,000 words to go. Have to send it to the proofreader by midday, my time Thursday. So it's going to be a week. It is going to be a week, people. If you didn't know it was going to be a week, it will be a week. There was apparently a festival in the garden last night. uh, Something got in the pond and tore up the lily pad, munched one of the lily blossoms right in half, and marauded through the grape arbor because there's grapes and leaves everywhere, and there was no wind last night, people. No wind at all. So I think raccoon. David's going to put out the wildlife camera. Well, he keeps forgetting, but I think he will after he sees the pond marauding. I do not know if the fish are okay. I cannot see them. He left early this morning to go do some stuff, so I don't think he knows. I didn't know until I walked out here to record this. Um, Life's an adventure in the country. Midnight marauders. I think it's probably raccoon. Before when something got in our pond, I was voting bobcat and David was team raccoon. But I think if it's marauding the grape arbor and the pond, it probably is raccoons. Raccoons gotta. Oh, I say gotta live too, but this isn't about living. Raccoons gotta maraud too. So, I actually have an agenda today, as longtime listeners know. I almost never do, but yesterday was my day to blog at SFF7, and I didn't because, oh, you guys, I was tired this weekend. I was just, I was brain drained. I didn't get that many words on Dragon's Daughter on Friday. I got, I don't know, 1,500, maybe almost 2,000. And hit hit the kind of like the final big action scene. And you guys know I hate writing action scenes. And this actually connects. There's a segue here. Um, so Friday afternoon, I caught up. I just did some things and I read. And I really, ooh, sorry, I keep hitting the table with my coffee cup, clutching it to me and gesturing at the same time. It doesn't work well. So Saturday, I was worthless. I was like, I'd had this idea I was going to do my businessy stuff on Saturday, and I've sometimes been going ahead and writing my Sunday blog for the SFF7 on Saturday and scheduling it, and then doing an unplugged day on Sunday. So I thought, wow, that's what I'll do. But Saturday morning, no, I was worthless. So I ended up doing unplugged day on Saturday. I didn't turn on the computer all day, and I didn't do a whole lot. I got my bike out. I posted a picture of my bicycle. Bicycle. Am I the only one who goes right to Queen? Um, but I'll my townie. It is rideable. I spent a fair amount of time messing with it, trying to install these fenders that I've had for it forever. That I finally decided I couldn't. I took the bike for a longer ride yesterday, and the gears aren't shifting right. It's been sitting. I was able to get several things on it figured out, but including I had one of those really great bike locks on it, with the massive cable and the lock, and no key. Have not been able to find the key since we moved. So now we're talking 12 years. Is it a coincidence that I have 12,000 words to work to do on this book, and it's been 12 years since we moved, and I'm dealing with things that are only 12 years? Probably is a coincidence. Although, if you do numerology, 12 is 1 plus 2, which equals 3, which is the number of manifestation. things are manifesting themselves. So anyway, um, if you were here for coherent podcasts, you should have known better. I figured out how to get it off. I mean, genius me. After this many years, I realized that there's a lever on the seat that allows you to remove the seat, so you could like take it inside, so somebody doesn't mess with it. And I just took that off, and I slid the lock right off of there. So I mean, I still don't have the key for it, but at least it's not wound around the seat post uselessly. So I did get my bike fixed up, and that was nice. But I am going to have to take it in to get the gears aren't shifting correctly. And I slipped the chain a couple of times. I took a longer bike ride yesterday, and yeah, it's not doing exactly right. So I'm just going to have them install the fenders for me. Much better. The fenders are actually kind of beat up from being tossed around the garage all these years, too. So I'm kind of tempted just to buy new pretty ones, but doesn't matter. I don't know. Um, so yeah, that'll be for later this week. Take that into the bicycle place. I don't think I got much else done on Saturday. I read a lot. I've been reading the next book in Maria Snyder's. I'm almost done. Chasing the Shadows, Sentinels of the Galaxy. Book three awaits, so I've been enjoying that. And I sat in the sun and drank beer. That was good. And that's how when people say, "How do you refill your well?" That's like how I do it. Um, and then I still had tasks to catch up on yesterday, and went to the garden center and I got a few plants to fill in the holes. I got a new rose bush. I don't know if you can see it over there very well, but yeah, got some things planted. That was good. Um, and then I ended up meeting the delightful Megan Mulry for drinks in the afternoon, and we had a wide ranging conversation. It was nice. We sat in the sun and drank champagne. I mean, that's also refilling the well, liquor of choice. And yeah, it was just the two of us, and we sat in the sun at Santa Fe Brewing headquarters in the Adirondack chairs, and we drank a lot of champagne and talked about the meaning of life and what are you searching for, meaning versus money, and how does money factor in. And it was a good conversation. It was really fun. But the upshot of all of this is that I came home tipsy, still having not written that blog post, and tired, and Um, I have no words left in my brain. So I thought, well, I could try to get it up this morning, but I need to save. I need to save my words for getting this book finished. So I thought, well, I'll just talk about the topic on the podcast today. And so all of that is a long intro. And I apologize if you came here only to hear about action scenes and had to suffer through the long perambulations about raccoons and coffee and uh, all of my things. This is very on brand for my first cup of coffee, but I know it's not. What did my nephew say? He called it an unscripted podcast. Why did an unscripted podcast make him think so much? Nothing against you, Brett, if you are listening. I just think that's funny. It's like, yes, here at Jeffy's first cup of coffee, we are unscripted. So, the topic at the SFF7, and I realize that I'm cheating because I know a lot of you don't like to listen to. Oh, wait, I'm preaching to the choir. I was going to say a lot of you don't like listening to podcasts, but obviously, if you're hearing me say this, you like to listen. I get people complaining about the transcript thing sometimes. And part of the reason I still blog is to reach those people who would prefer to read things. Um, of, of, of whom I am one. I mean, I don't really listen to podcasts, so I'm fully aware of the depths of my hypocrisy here. But I could talk through something much faster than I can type it out, especially if I'm feeling low on words. So, our topic was putting the action in action scenes. And this does connect neatly back to because often when come to a screeching halt on a book, as I did Friday on Dragon's Daughter and the Winter Mage, it's for an action scene. And most authors, we a frequent question, and it's because it can be a useful question, is, um, do you prefer to write sex scenes or action scenes? And I know I've mentioned this before. Some authors dislike writing sex scenes so much that they will simply opt to not write them at all, and they'll write like closed door. The train goes on the tunnel, the waves crash on the shore, boom, done. Uh, you almost never get away with that with action scenes. Because it's like, oh, well, everybody loves action scenes. It's like, yes, yes, we love violence and death, but, kissing and snogging, it's a bridge too far. I will write a sex scene any day. Give me sex scenes. I don't want to write the action scenes. Action scenes are so boring to me. So it's no surprise that I actually ground to a halt on writing about putting the action in action scenes. So I did see an author recently mention that they didn't like writing either action or sex scenes. And it was like, oh, well, what parts do you like? And I think it turned out that it was something like that they like writing conversations between people. I like writing that part too. Go away, Skeeto. So a lot of, like Jennifer Estep even put me on a panel with her once at RT conference years ago that was called Steam versus Screen. Steam versus Scream. And it was like, do you like writing sex scenes or action scenes? And why don't I like writing action scenes? Because people will often say to me, oh, well, action scenes are just like writing sex scenes. It's like, no, they are not. I drives me up the wall when people say that. It's no. And they're like, well, it's the same kind of emotions. It comes from character and all this. It's like, I don't know how you're writing your sex scenes, honey. I'm sorry. I hope I'm not offending any of you who think this, but it's like, no, the action scenes are about um, part of it's because they advance the plot, but they're also like a different kind of emotional stimulation. I think it's that adrenaline deal, the adrenaline deal. I'm out of words. I apologize. Um, it's for me the all I care about with action scenes is I want to know who wins and what kind of damage do they come away with. And even when I'm reading or watching a movie, um, I tend to zone out during the action scenes because it's like, especially, which ones I hate when you get to the end of the movie and it comes down to mano a mano, and and it's like the hero and the villain have to duke it out one on one, after the villain has miraculously resurrected 19 times, and it's like for that final fight, and it's like I so don't care. And maybe I would say it's femaleness. Like Jennifer Estep loves to write action scenes. So I don't think that's it entirely. But I did see a very interesting Twitter thread talking about Ursula Le Guin tearing apart 2001 Space Odyssey. Um, and I saved the essay and I'll link to it. And I want to read the full essay because this person excerpted it, but she was talking about how 2001 Space Odyssey is such a male perspective of human evolution, where the, um, you know, bashing each other over the head is like somehow the emergence of humanity, and how the fetus has that the image of the fetus floating through space, but that how it has miraculously no container, and it's really interesting. But for me, like sex scenes are about character revelation and intimacy and uh, people coming together. Whereas the action scenes, people will tell me that it's about character revelation too. And I'm sorry, I just don't buy it. I don't think people discover things about themselves through fighting. Like maybe you discover that you have some sort of ability to withstand or be brave in a way that you didn't before. But as far as like character transformation goes, that's pretty meager, right? I mean, it's not exactly an epiphany. um, so here I am 15 minutes in and I haven't answered the question yet. Sorry. So, how do I get around writing action scenes when I hate them? And I feel like I'm getting better at it. And what I do is I pencil them in. I I don't do insert action scene here, like some people do insert sex scenes here. I don't believe in skipping scenes because I'm a linear writer and it doesn't work for me. Other people can make it work, not me. So what I do is I basically write the scene, a skeleton version of the scene, and I don't do this at any other time, but I will just push myself through it and write essentially um, what happens, and it's like who wins and what's the damage, and then I go back over it and I layer in and I add in more stuff and I add in tension and I add in things like the ticking clock and I don't know. I try to layer in some emotion too, but frankly, you guys, I just don't think action scenes are all that emotional. I don't think that's why we write or read them. I think that's part of the again, I think it's an adrenaline junkie thing. I know that you guys can probably, feel free to argue with me, and you no doubt will. Uh, I just don't find people bashing each other all that interesting. So I keep going back to that why I don't like action scenes as opposed to telling you about layering action into action scenes. Um, so yeah, maybe I just don't have much to say about this. How do you do it? I think battle scenes are much more interesting to write than mano y mano. So there's like not a female version of that. It's like we have to cobble it together. Womano, womano. I mean, it's like no. Um, Battle scenes are interesting because there's lots of moving pieces and strategy, and so I can get with that more. It's the yeah. I think one thing that works, and I see other authors do it, and I don't think I do it well, mostly because I want to get it done with. But it's something that Andy Weir mentioned, the author of The Martian, when I saw him talk, was that he said his whole method was anytime he came to like a pause in the story or slow down in a story, he would have something go wrong. And I think that that's one way to get at it is to have something go wrong. And I see other authors do that. Like I was just, like I said, reading Chasing the Shadows, Maria V. Schneider, and she does a good job with it at this final scene. And it would be fun to have her on here. I've gotten suggestions lately to interview Dana Martin, and who is Dana can't do it yet because she's super, super busy. But as soon as she has the bandwidth, she will. Um, and I still need to get, yeah, now I can't think of her name. Oh, Milla Vane. Uh, she's been busy. But it'd be fun to get Maria on here and ask her because I don't think her previous books have had this much action in them. But she does a thing in like the final battle scene where the plan is coming off well and everything's going great. And then something goes very wrong. And she kind of gets us to the point where it goes, it's going better, responding to that, and then something else goes wrong. So I think that that is one way to deal with action scenes is to keep breaking it, which is what Andy Weir said: make something break. Um, and that's probably what I need to do if I didn't hate writing them so much, um, because usually I want them to just go great. It's like, okay, we have a plan. Let's just pull off the plan and get out of here and finish it. And I need to have more things go wrong. And so that's probably something I could do on layering. And maybe I will try to do that as I write these final 12,000 words is, to have things be going well and then have something break. Um, and it's probably a reflection of my personality that I don't like for things to go wrong. I don't like for things to break. And sometimes people joke about authors, like torturing their characters and stuff. And it just doesn't feel that way to me when I'm writing. I don't feel like I'm torturing my characters or trying to think up ways to torture them. I think I'm so in my characters' heads that I'm like with them going, okay, how are we going to get out of here? How are we going to fix this? What are we going to do? So there it is, my piecemeal advice with the sun dappling coming. Oh, the sun feels so nice. Sun dappling coming in. I'm putting action in action scenes. I'm sorry I didn't write it out this time. But hey, we do what we have to do. On that note, I'll remind you all that First Cup of Coffee is part of the Frolic Media Podcast Network, and you will find more podcasts you love at frolic.media/podcasts. And also, I want to mention that if this looks like the same dress I was wearing on Friday, it's not. I got three new dresses in this same pattern, and one is blue and one is purple. And I think that this is the blue one, and I think it may look the same, but it's not. You know those memes where people do like the you know what do you love about, like your favorite thing to read, and it's um you know books, or your favorite thing, books, and then also me but in blue. Still books. Some of you will get that. So this is also stars and moons but in blue. You all take care, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye bye.